Welcome to Strategic Public Relations. The planning process has 4 stages. The strategic planning process has 4 stages. Formative research is the first stage. Now, we have already done introduction and we have discussed what we mean by strategic public relations. Now, we're delving fully into it in a series of lectures. The first stage is formative research. So today we are going to look only at formative research. Now, before we go into the task for the day, I would like to take the opportunity to clear the air on some misconceptions about public relations profession. Some people assume that public relations is about hype or exaggeration, and this stems from a misunderstanding of the role, the various tasks that the public relations personnel undertakes. Now, publicity, not hype or exaggeration, publicity, I'm comfortable with that. Publicity is just one of the things that the public relations personnel does. But some are under the impression that is all public relations is about. Now, public relations isn't about spin or deception. You often hear when things go south that they say what they are doing is PR, or what this company is doing is PR. Ignore them, or these people have used PR on you, trying to indicate or suggest that what has happened to you is spin or deception. Now, public relations focuses to help people see the good things about an organization. The idea is not to cover up things that an organization has done, but to help people see the good in an organization. And this is only possible if the organization is actually doing good things. So the public relations personnel encourages and directs organizations to do good things, and then they let people know of the good things that the organization is doing. The idea is not spin or deception. People who use deception are not practicing public relations. Public relations is not just about mess cleaning. Now, when things go south in organizations, they say, where's the PR? Go call the PR and let the person sort it out. Looks like the public relations role is just there to be, correcting people's mistakes, following the big guns, and then when they make an error, you sweep it up. But no, an effective public relations personnel or an effective public relations practice helps management avoid the mess in the first place. And as we are studying strategic planning process, you would understand how this works. Now, finally, public relations isn't only a tool for big businesses. So after you are done with this course, when you're going out there to pitch to companies, do not only focus on the big ones. The SMEs also need public relations. Some people even argue that they need it more, but that is conversation for another day. So schools, hospitals, churches, unions, the arts, from multinationals to local startups, they all need the public relations personnel services. So this is just by the way. Now let us delve into the task for the day. Now, earlier I talked about the strategic planning process. Now, when you look at this diagram, you see we have formative research, which we have already mentioned, and then we have strategy, we have tactics, and then we have evaluative research. Now, these are the processes that strategic planning goes through. It starts from formative research, it goes through strategy, tactics, and then evaluative research. Now, so what this means is we're going to start with formative research. From there, we'll go to strategy, we'll go to tactics, and then we will look at evaluative research. And that is how we would end the course. Now, when we come to formative research, we are talking about research you conduct to understand the current scenario. So if you're an organization, you have been employed as a public relations personnel today, and you're conducting formative research, what we say you're doing is you're looking into the current scenario. How are things like now in the organization? Now, in doing this, remember that you came across two researches in the previous slide, formative and evaluative. Now, formative, as the word indicates, form. So as you're forming your strategy, this is the kind of research you would need to give you an idea of to understand what the issue or the problem is. Now, there are 3 steps in formative research. The first one is to analyze the situation. So when we are analyzing the situation, we are asking ourselves, what is the challenge faced? What is the challenge that the organization is facing? So, for example, very soon there'll be a football match between the Ghana Black Stars and the Eagles of Nigeria. And one of the challenges that GFSS we face is lack of support for the Black Stars. So what is the challenge faced over here? We're going to say is the lack of support. Now, when we say what opportunity exists, it depends on how you're looking at it. Some people can see a challenge as an opportunity. Some people see an opportunity as a challenge. However you're seeing it, you are analyzing the situation. Now, what somebody would ask is, how can a challenge be an opportunity? So when we say an opportunity over here, basically we're talking about what can you possibly do? Is there something you can do? Yes, what can you do? You can create. So remember, when you're looking at it as a challenge, you're saying lack of support for the Black Stars. But when you're looking at this as an opportunity, you're looking at it as the possibility to create or increase support for the Black Stars. So in that sense, you're looking at this as an opportunity instead of a challenge. Now, either way, you have to analyze the situation, which is the main heading, which is what we are focusing on, analyzing the situation. So you ask yourself, what is the opportunity or challenge that you're facing? Now, when you answer that question, the next thing you're supposed to do is to analyze the organization that you're in. Now, in analyzing the organization, you're going to look at the internal environment that is inside the organization itself. What is the organization's mission? Because when you find out an organization's mission, it gives you an idea of why they are doing what they are doing now. You find out their vision. You get an idea of where they want to be in future. So you see, in getting such information, you are analyzing the organization to understand who they are. Now, another way you can check the internal environment is to also look at the organization's performance so far, their resources. What do they have now? What are they lacking? Yeah, if you're looking at their public perception, which is the next subtopic, you're looking at their reputation. How do people see the organization? And how do you get this information? It is by talking to people, by talking to staff, by looking through documents that others have worked on in the past. You go through these things and then gives you an idea of where the company is now. Now, when we talk about the external environment, we're talking about your competitors. What are they up to? What are they doing differently? What are they doing same? How are they growing or not growing? So all these come together under analyzing the organization. And then finally, we come to analysis of your publics. Remember, in public relations, we call it publics. Now, when you're analyzing your publics, you're looking at the various groups that interact with your organization. So which various groups interact with your organization? So if you're an alcoholic beverage company, for instance, and you're looking at the various groups that interact with your organization, your distributors, for instance, will be one of your publics, or one of the various groups that interact with the organization. Now, you ask yourself, what are their needs? What are their interests? What are their expectations from the company or of the company? Yeah. So the interest or needs of your distributors will definitely be different from the interest and needs of, let's say, your shareholders. So it means that how you approach the needs of the distributors and the interests of the distributors may be fundamentally different and will be different from how you approach the problems that or the interest or needs of your shareholders. Now, in analyzing your publics, you'd also have to ask yourself what social or economic or cultural happening can affect these publics. So what currently can happen that could affect the performance of the publics or their situation or state? So if roads are bad in a certain area, or the weather is so bad that your distributors cannot move, then you see that this is a possible happening that could affect them. So these are some of the things you can do in analyzing the publics. Now, if you check your course outline, you would realize that you have been given Smith's book to read, Strategic Planning for Public Relations. When you go through the book, it has all these that we are discussing here. So you can go there for an in-depth understanding and reading. If you're not clear on anything, you can either send a message over here on this platform, or you can hold on to it, and then when we meet for physical discussion, you put it before the class and we all judge on it. Alright. Cheers.